I've been in the physical commodity industry for more than 15 years, and in this video, I'm going to reveal my method to start from scratch a brand new commodity, raw material, ingredient trading business. And the name of this method is the Buyer Let's Start method. Sounds cool? For those who are new to this channel, I'm Damien. I own several online companies related to commodities and started several commodity trading firms with no capital. That's my credential. So now, why am I revealing my Buyer Let's Start method and what do I do online? Good questions. Two reasons. The first reason is that I'm the first one to build a commodity trading firm on the back of social media. I think it's a great idea, as all the legacy firms forbid their employees to speak about what they do online. So it's a blue ocean, and also social media helps to create trust faster, which is extremely important in international trade. The second reason is that this video is a marketing asset for my educational training company, the Shipping and Commodity Academy, which helps people break into the physical commodity trading industry. My guess is that 4% of the people that are watching this video are going to take some type of action, and out of those, 25% will quickly realize that the time wasted and the cost of mistake exceed the investment in our educational product. All right, is that clear? Now you can click on the link below this video and download the worksheet that goes with this mini course. It's free, just enter your email and you will receive it in your mailbox. And it's a pretty long and dense video, so I think it's better for you to follow, to have the sheet with you. Also, at the end of this worksheet, if you download it, you will see that I added 5 books, the 5 best books that I recommend as a bonus. So yeah, go ahead, download it, and I'll be waiting for you here. Before jumping into the lesson, so what is the promise of this video? The promise is extremely simple. If you follow all the steps that I'm laying out in this video, by the end of it, you'll be able to ship your first trial cargo. And the problem is that you will not follow what I say. I don't know why. I've been educating people for a while now, and people always think that they have a better idea, that they have a better method, even though they know jack. Yeah, I'm telling you, do all the steps that I lay out in this video and you'll be able to ship your first cargo. Be cute, think that you know better, do the way you want, and you'll see, you'll waste most of your time. Anyway, that was my warning. Now, let's quickly see what we are going to see in this video. All right, so what we are going to see. The first chapter is the core of the game. So this is where I'm going to explain exactly what it means to run a commodity trading firm, a physical commodity trading firm. Then the anatomy of a trade. I'm going to explain the 3 pillars of any trade. After that, we'll start with the Buyer Let's Start method. Why this method makes sense, then how to find an anchor buyer. After that, how to understand the trade flows, find a reliable supplier, then check the logistic viability of your trade. Finally, get the product validated. And once all of that is done, we'll speak about a very important part, how to get finance. After that, we'll quickly speak about execution and scaling. All right, that sounds cool. Let's dive in. The core of the game. So before I explain the Buyer Let's Start method, I need you to understand the core of the game. What it means to be a physical commodity traders and what is the value provided by this job. And it's important for you to understand it, because if you don't get what it means to do this job, what is the value provided, we'll waste so much time and so much money trying to follow up with deals that makes no sense, that you have no chance to close. And you need to be able to see opportunities. And if you don't understand the game, then you won't be able to see those opportunities. So please stick with me. Try to understand as much as possible what I'm going to explain the next 10 minutes. And then, yeah, and if you have questions, leave a comment below the video and I will answer. But yeah, all right, let's go. The value provided by commodity trading firms is to de-risk the supply chain. So basically, the most you de-risk the supply chain, the most value you create. So the most risk you take off your counterparty to put on yourself, on the both sides of the supply chain, the more value you will create. And we can even say that the trading firm that is going to get the most market share are the one that will provide the most value, and down the line are the one that de-risk the most their transaction for their counterparty. Knowing that, then there is a difference between the value provided and the margin that you can get as a trader. Again, margin, this term is loosely used, okay? It's basically the difference between your purchase price and your sales price, and then you can add all the costs in between, transport, insurance, finance, and so on. But because there is something, you can create a lot of value, But in some market, it's very difficult to capture it. And this is what you see here in front of the screen. It's like your margin is going to depend on two different factors, which is the value that you create and your ability to capture this value. For instance, in some very, very competitive market, it's very difficult to capture the value that you create because the competition is so high. In other markets, because of some usually governmental intervention, it's very difficult to capture the market because there is a lot of rules and regulation that prevent you to capture it, even though you create a lot of value. So the way to capture the most value is to have a risk assessment different from all the market participants. So let me explain. A market that I used to know very well was the palm oil market, cooking oil market in West Africa. I briefly had an import company of cooking oil in West Africa. And basically, there is a bunch of big importers that buy directly from the supplier, then distribute it to the end user. And they give even credit to the end user. So those big importers, they have a huge part of the market because obviously they take all the risk. They buy directly from the supplier, 100% prepayment, and then they give credit to their customer, which is the end customer. So they have a huge part of the supply chain and they de-risk the transaction for everyone. They take all the risk, they prepay, and then they give credit to their end buyers. So they take all the risk. And those guys, honestly, they are also struggling to make good money because even though they take all the risk, the market is very competitive and it's very difficult also to collect the money from your buyers. So even though they take a lot of risk and they provide a lot of value to the supply chain, they only can capture a little part of this value provided. And for instance, in those markets, for instance, the palm oil business in West Africa, it's going to be very difficult to come and compete and command high margin just because of the structure of the market. And I will explain in 5 minutes under the market constraint chapter what it means to have a different risk assessment than your competition. So the reality is that most of the risk-free trade flows are already trusted by big actors. But there's multiple niche trade flows that are too complex for the big actors to tackle, or that are just too small and for them it doesn't make sense. Look, man, if you have let's say you do 20 million in revenue in a couple of niche trade flows, for 20 million, depending the desk on a big trading house, on a legacy trading house, it's nothing for them. It doesn't make sense for them to put resources and to take risk to capture those niche markets. So this is where a lot of small and medium businesses are thriving, in those niche trade flow. And basically, this is what I do. This is what and this is what I'm going to teach you. Through the buyer-led start method, how to find those trade flow and how to capture the opportunity. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So there is 3 types of niches. So the first one is geographical niche. So this is basically very difficult countries where you need to be in, you need to understand very well those countries just to navigate and don't get rude. There's product niche. There is very small products that are not really commodity, that are more raw material and ingredient, that if you have a good knowledge in those, you can command margin. And there is also processing niche. Again, it's processing is you can transform the commodity into another commodity or into another raw material that you can just sell at a higher value. So this is the 3 big type of niches that you can find. And obviously there is intersection between all of those. And the perfect niches would be something in the middle. But I think, honestly, it's quite difficult to find those opportunities and to capture it. But the ones that do are making millions. All right. Another thing that I want to say in this introduction is that there is a lot of ways to play the game of trading. You can play it in a lot of different ways. So some people speculate. Some people have superior product knowledge. For instance, in some alloy, in some processing. There's some way to process commodities in a better way than the others. If you can do that, you can make extra margin. There's some people that have extremely good relationship with, government or entity that block the competition, so they capitalize on that. Other people have logistical assets that they make money out of it. For instance, if you in Europe, it's almost impossible to build a new storage capacity for fossil fuel. So all the companies that already own those storage capacity, they are making a lot of money because right now they just have the right asset at the right time, and because of the regulation, it's impossible to build them. new one. Licenses, again, if you can get some licenses to do something that other people can't, you can make extra margin. Processing asset, it's a bit the same idea of the logistical asset. If you can have an asset that it's difficult to get for the competition, you can make extra money. Again, in Europe, if you are processing, I don't know if you have like a wash pen for coal, now you can make a lot of money because it's impossible to get anything done coal-wise in Europe. So those type of things. Again, there's infinite way to play this game, but what I'm going to teach you and what I'm going to explain is about how to find niche trade flows and how to capitulate on them. If you have the ability to raise 50 million from an equity partner and then to go trade directly against the big dogs out there, do it. But this isn't what I do. But by the way, if you want to lend me 50 million, I mean, I can make it happen. Contact me. All right. So another thing that I want to explain, because this question comes every week, because I'm basically the only one speaking about that on social media. So a lot of people just ask me question, and this question is a recurring one. So I just want to make it clear. What is the difference between a broker and a trader? So basically, a broker is a big pile of shit. It's a business model which is dying, and a trader is going to thrive in the coming years because the world is getting more complex, more volatility, so traders are going to make a lot of money. So the broker is a dying model for a lot of reasons. So what a broker does is put together two people, two companies, and make a commission. The reality is that this business model is dying for a lot of reasons. But today we all have WhatsApp. The cost of communication is so low. The cost of transport is so low. The value of putting people together is close to zero. This business model is not sustainable, and I don't think that you are going to make, even trying to broker a deal. I mean, I have like experienced businessman entrepreneur that came to me and said, look, man, I tried to broker a deal between two friends. One friend that can supply it, one friend that wants to buy it. And even between two friends, I couldn't make it happen. Like, yeah, no shit. The broker model is dead. Trader model is different. As I explained at the beginning, the trader is going to take ownership of the good. So the trader is going to take risk onto himself. So this is why it makes him valuable. And as the world is exploding right now with a lot of geopolitical problems, and I think a lot of sourcing problems, a lot of we have a lot of chaos ahead. The people that are able to de-risk and take ownership of the good, take all the risk onto them, and they are going to make money as the risk is going to increase in the coming years. Again, so the difference between a broker and a trader: a broker doesn't take ownership of the good, they just put two people together and take a commission. A trader is going to take ownership of the good, as such is going to take a margin, not a commission. If you want to understand more about the broker model and why you are never going to make it as a broker, I have a video that you can just watch whenever you want about it. All right, now let's speak about the anatomy of a trade. So what you need to make a trade happen. Like this idea that a trade is like a stool. You need three parts. You need a buyer, a seller, and the finance to make it happen. So there is a lot of type of trades different, but they all rely on the same three feet. Let me explain. So the easiest trade to understand is the back-to-back. You have a buyer, you have a seller, you buy from the seller, you resell to the buyer, and you finance somewhat in between. The other type of trade, which is quite common, is what I call the agglomeration. You have a lot of sellers that you can buy small parcel from them, You finance the purchase, you put it in a warehouse. When the stock is big enough, you sell to the buyer. The agglomeration is exactly what we do at Ecometal. So Ecometal, we basically have two scrap yards. We collect stainless scrap. So this type of stuff that you can see here on the screen, we put it inside. When we have enough, we put it inside a truck and we ship the truck to a recycler. So we agglomerate. So we need to pay for those products. And then we send it to our proper buyers. Then there's another model, extremely well known, is the distribution. You have one seller, you put everything in a warehouse, and then you distribute smaller parcel to a lot of buyers. I guess you know what a distributor is. So distribution is what we do with another company that I have in Singapore. We buy one full container of fertilizer in 15 kg bags and then resell it by bags. Very simple business model. But again, you have those three parts. A buyer, a seller, and you need money to finance in between. Then the last one, again, another type of trade, but it's the processing one. You have a buyer, a seller, and you you change the nature of the good from one form to another. So here, this is what I do at Chromatic Dragon. So this is one of my companies where we process chrome. So for instance, we have this pile of chrome on the left. We put it inside this wash plant, and basically it's going to increase the value of the good, because in the pile here we have, I don't know, 30% of chrome. And after we put it through the machine, we are going to get like 40% concentration of chrome. Then it makes more sense to ship those to India or to China, because the first part, I mean, we will mostly ship dirt, which is not, which doesn't really make sense to transport dirt. So it's not that complex, okay? But still, we process it, we buy, process it, and then we sell. So we need to finance in between. So again, those three parts. So now let's speak about market constraints. So all the trade that I show you, they live inside a broader market with competition, with prices moving, and so on. If I'm going back to what I explained at the beginning, the margin. So basically your margin is going to be equal to the value that you provide times your capacity to capture those value. So in some market, you cannot capture the value that you provide. So you don't have a margin. In some very, very competitive market, you even need to speculate just to sell to your customer, which is completely stupid if you think about it. In some market, it's impossible to capture the value that you provide, or it's impossible to get paid for the risk that you take, another way to see it. And in other markets, sometimes the value that you want to provide is too low compared to the competition. And in that case, if I take the example from the palm oil example from West Africa, if you are like a small trader and say, I want to do the cooking oil business also in West Africa, so I'm going to buy to the supplier here in Malaysia, in Indonesia, and then I'm going to sell this to an importer in West Africa, and I'm not going to finance it. I'm going to ask the money upfront from the importer, so then I can buy from the supplier. Then your value is zero, man. It's impossible for you to make this trade profitable, because as I explained, in this market there are big local importers that are already prepaying the supplier and then financing the end buyer. So there is no, I mean, you can't compete with them. Your value is too low. So for instance, let's take this example. So if there is one trader, the trader A, they have one buyer and one seller, and they use a 30%, 70% payment term. So that means that they ask for 30% in advance, and then they will pay the 70% remaining against, let's say, the document. So for the trader, there is no finance involved, as they are going to use the money from the client to pay the supplier, and then they are going to use again the money from the client to pay the supplier. So there is no finance involved. Those type of trade are very, very difficult to make happen, because what is probably happening is in the same market, there is another dude that prepare the product and then give, I don't know, 60 days to pay for the buyer. But this dude, the B1, man, they can also sell with the same payment terms to your buyer. So the guy that do B is most probably going to capture this client. I mean, if he wants so, because he has the possibility to do it. So, and you as a trader, what are you going to do, man? So my point is, again, in some market, the competition will constrain you to take a minimum level of risk. All right? So, market, yeah, this is not right. It should be margin. Anyway, again, the margin is the value that you can de-risk, time your coolness. Well, yeah, what I call coolness is your ability to make people trade with you. But anyway, so if we put it on a chart, so X is the value that you provide, and here you have numbers of deals. Let's say that the trader A that only do prepayment, they will be able to capture only the deals that are here. All right. The trader B that prepare and finance the client, he'll be able to capture all those trades. He would be able to capture way more deals, but maybe there's like a minimum level to be able to conclude deal in this market, which is a big red line. So the reality is like the A guy, as long as it doesn't provide enough value to be able to be above this red line, is not going to conclude any deal. And here in the B case, the only deal possible are those here. All right. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to put the theory of why you are not able to close deals. It's mostly the reality is like you don't provide enough value compared to the market constraint. And sometimes there is a level of risk that you need to take just to be able to conclude deals. I hope that it makes sense. All right. So I hope that now you can understand a little bit better this sentence, which is to capture a large part of the value, you need to have a risk assessment that is different from the market. So that means that the risk that you are willing to take and the way that you are assessing the risk must be different from you. For instance, again, if I'm going back to the palm oil importer in West Africa, the guy is from Senegal. This is his country in West Africa. So he knows how to navigate, he knows how to collect the money back from their clients, he knows what to do if the clients are not paying them and so on. So he has a different risk assessment than if you are, I don't know, an international company based in the US and that you want to sell to West Africa. So for you, the risk assessment will be completely different because you won't be able to take the same level of risk. Or if you do that, there's a lot of chance that this goes bad for you, right? So let me explain another thing. The way your strategy, the way your company approach the market can unlock you deals. For instance, let's say that what you do is you only ship containers to importers, all right? So in that case, you will be able to, you provide, I don't know, enough value to be able to close all the deals that are below the container. But if, let's say that your company decide to open a warehouse in the country of destination and do CMA, collateral management agreement, but okay, or no, I shouldn't speak about that. So let's keep it simple. But if your company decide to say, look man, what we're going to do, we are going to open a local branch in that destination country and we are going to finance ourselves the product to the local warehouse and then we are going to sell to the people there. What you do basically is like you are going to de-risk the deal for you. All right, you are going to finance way more, but you are going to de-risk and you are going to provide more value for your end buyers because now he doesn't need to wait for the container. He can just go and pick up the good directly at your house, or you can even send the good directly to his factory. So by doing so, you provide way more value than just shipping containers. So then it unlocks a lot of deals without necessarily taking more risk on yourself because you have control of the product because it goes to your own factory, to your own warehouse. Does it make sense? Again, so you can position your company in a way to take not more risk, but to provide more value to the supply chain. So, and this is the example here. So before that, you only ship containers to your client, and now you have a warehouse. So basically, you can just distribute the product to your client, and your client have way less risk to deal with you in the warehouse rather than waiting for the container to come. You don't know the quality, you don't know what all the issue that comes with not knowing what is inside the container. All right, so now let's speak about the buyer let's start method. The first thing is why this method even exists and why it makes sense to follow it. So the buyer let's start method try to answer to this paradox. The way to jump into a new market is by finding an opportunity. But the problem is like it's impossible to find an opportunity if you are not already in the market. So then it becomes this loop, like how can I find an opportunity if I'm not in the market? How to find an opportunity, you need to be in the market. So like, okay, man, all right, what should I do? So the buyer let's start method is basically a method to break inside the market and to answer to this paradox. So to understand why the buyer let's start method is the best and the only method to start a commodity trading house from scratch, you need to understand again the state of physical commodity trading today. So quick history, the modern commodity trading history, let's say after the Second World War, started with the fall of the ex-URSS. So basically here all the modern way of trading, so all the traders and so on, they went to the ex-URSS. The ex-URSS were falling. This is basically when most of the oligarchs came from, this era. But anyway, that's another story. So, and they found in this part of the world huge supplying capacity at a lower price. In that world, if you had the capacity to source from those places, you were able to command huge margin because it was not easy to deal with. I mean, those guys spoke Russian, you need a plane to go there to deal with them, very difficult. You were not sure who is the owner of the factory, of the mine, blah, blah, blah. That was a big thing, but it's really how it started. So the fall of the ex-URSS created like a big hole, and the traders went there to just take opportunity. And the traders went there to just do the arbitrage. Then we had another wave, which was the opening of China. So China was opening, China was buying all the commodities in the world. They are still one of the biggest buyers of all the commodity in the world. And the China appetite was so huge that everything, it pushed all the price of all the commodities like to a new high. And that was like a real gold rush. So all the commodity trading firm that was able to sell to China, I mean, they made a massive amount of money because, I mean, the bull market, in a bull market, it's always easier to make money than in a bear market because everything is more easy when the market is going up. So we can say that this era stopped in 2011, 12, something like this, with a major crash of all the commodities, and this is the end of the last commodity super cycle. And after this aftermath of the end of this commodity super cycle, we saw a huge consolidation of all the trading firms, and this is how most of the big legacy players, the giants that we know today, Trafigura, Glencore, Cargill, LDC, I mean all the big commodity trading firms, they just are a repercussion of this era, where they were able to buy their competitor, or their competitor were just not able to sustain the size as the market was retracting. They just became small commodity trading firm, or they just got bought, or they just closed. So during this era, from the end of this super cycle to today, we really saw the commodity trading firm that survive and thrive are the winners, you know, and they are the ones that are making huge amount of money today. And now we are entering in a new era. And I think this era started in April 2020 when the oil went negative. For me, this is the point where of the start of the new super cycle. So the last super cycle that was led by China was basically the demand-led super cycle. So China was buying all the commodities because they needed to build all the cities and so on. But now the new super cycle is going to be led by a supply constraint. So during the last 20 years, basically, no money went into building new supply capacity of commodities. So most probably what is going to happen is that we have not built enough capacity for copper mine, new oil well, and so on. So now it's going to beat us in the ass, bite us in the ass, and most of the commodity or most prices are going to skyrocket again. And I think it really started when the oil went negative a few years ago. So now that I've said that, during this time period, there's also something that has changed. Is the technology has advanced, obviously, the last 50 years. So the most impacting things was the fact that the cost of communication is now zero. So in the time of the start of the modern era, I mean, people use telext, fax to speak to each other, and now it's instant WhatsApp. So now everything is instant, it's free. So the technology really collapsed the cost of communication, and the other part is also the cost of travel decreased. I mean, I don't know, 20 times. So around that time, the cost of traveling was only for the rich people. And now everyone can travel to anyone. Most of the people can travel to the other part of the world as long as you have a visa. So the technology, by advancing, just decrease the cost of all of that. And even right now, in terms of communication, the translation are very, very good. You can even speak and you get translate your language in another language in few seconds, which is unheard of. So even the barrier that would be the language barrier is now getting removed. So technology advance, and it changes completely the landscape. As technology advance, it disproportionately rewards people of higher skills and effort. So this is why we can say, look, man, technology advance, but the world is not better. I mean, I can argue that, but the ones that are really making money are the ones that have higher skills and that put more effort. So this is why those trading firms that are the giant of today, they had higher skills, and they put way more effort than all the other people. So this is why they were able to capitalize on that, and that now they are just leading the world in terms of commodity trading. So the type of trade that are now possible to small actors were not possible back then to the same type of actor. So the type of trade that you have now access to have completely changed to the one that you had access like 50 years ago. Even now, you with your laptop and with your phone, with a little bit of money to buy a ticket to see a supplier, you have access to way more type of trade, type of product that you can trade to what was possible 50 years ago. All right, so you need to capitulate on that. It also means that, let's say, the bread and butter, the most common type of trade that trader used to do 40 years ago, like buying FOB at the port, selling SIFT at another port, was the most common type of trade. Those type of trade makes no sense to do for you today if you want to start, because you won't be able to provide enough value to make it happen with a margin good enough. Technology advancement, market changes, and now you need to look for other type of trade. So don't look at what legacy players are doing and say, oh, fuck, I need to do that. It won't work. You need to find another type of trade, other product, niche product to make it happen. So, and one funny story about how with time everything changed my first boss told me, basically my mentor, Vanessa, she taught me everything. I worked for her at the beginning of my career. And she used to say that when she started, the client didn't even know the Forex exchange, didn't even know the price, of the currency to do Forex. So they were the one giving them the Forex price. So obviously they would take a margin on the Forex price. But can you imagine that you sell to someone that doesn't even know what is the price, the conversion of their local currency into US dollar, into, it was not euro back then, but into Dutch mark or whatever. So they even didn't know that. I mean, everything changed. Anyway, so now let me explain something that I really want you to understand. So why you need to start with a buyer, why you need to find a buyer and not a supplier. So why doesn't the supplier road work? So why shouldn't you start with a supplier? I found a supplier, now I'm going to find buyers for that supplier. Why? That way it doesn't work. I will explain that because you need to understand why the buyer let's start method works. The buyer let's start method obviously start with a buyer. So why the starting with a supplier doesn't work. So let's say that you approach this factory to sell steel, all right? The first question that the factory is going to say, who are you? Who are you, man? Why would I buy from you millions of steel from you? So who are you? So first of all, there's like okay, so you need to overcome this. Then the guy is going to say, look man, it's a commodity, right? So everyone is at the same price. So why would I risk dealing with you that I don't know? That basically it's your first deal, so you also don't know what you are doing. I know all the best supplier. I know 20 people that can sell that have been doing this for like more than 10 years and that I can buy from them. So why should I take the risk of dealing with you? I'm not going to buy from you, guys. So the best thing that you can do is you can give me a price, then I will use that price to go to one of my 5 trusted suppliers to say, look, some dude gave me that price for that origin. Can you match it? This is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to take the risk to deal with you when I know all the legacy players that have been supplying for me for years. So, that's basically. So go ahead, give me a quote, and then I will use your quote to use it as leverage to lower the price from one of my trusted suppliers. So the only way that you can maybe do is like, do you want to compete on the payment terms? My supplier asked me to open a LC, but man, if you want to give me 60 days to pay, no problem, we can maybe do a deal. So then there is no risk for me, and then I pay you after 60 days. But do you really want to attack the market like that? If that guy doesn't get 60 days from his supplier, that means that it's probably not a good buyer and that you shouldn't do that, man. So is it the way you want to take massive risk to penetrate a market? I don't know, man. So the real thing is like when you deal with commodities, the market price is the market price. So you won't be able to find like a product at a lower price and that you can serve to your buyer. It's not going to happen. You can be a little bit less expensive, but then the buyer is going to say, look man, you are a little bit less expensive than my trusted supplier, but I don't know you. For me, the risk of dealing with you is so high compared to the little bit better price that you can give me. So the buyer is not going to say that, but it's exactly what he's thinking. The other part is that payment terms. You will see that when you deal with big players like huge companies and so on that buy huge volume and so on, everyone is giving the same payment terms because at the end of the day, everyone sees a risk the same way. So everyone is okay to give the payment terms to the same type of payment terms. And sometimes what you will find is like someone or a couple of companies are takes a lot of risk and gives extremely good payment terms to certain buyers. And usually there is like a huge history between the two companies, or the owners are friends, or I don't know, same family, whatever. So in a world where everyone is at the same market price and everyone gives the same type of payment terms, how can you come with something new to a buyer? It's a commodity. It's the same as everyone. You are not offering like a new widget or something new. It's the same. What I'm trying to explain here is what is the upside for a buyer to change his supplier base? None, man. There is no upside. So the upside is very, very small, man. And yeah, so the reality is like most of you in commerce, they don't have a good answer to, okay, man, why should I work with you? I have 5 suppliers that I know very well. I work with them for 10 years and you give me the same price as them. Why would I work with you? So if most of the new incomers don't have a good answer to that question, so this is why the finding a supplier and then trying to find buyers doesn't make sense. Obviously, there's things that you can answer to that question that would make sense, but that's not the point of the video. And usually this is for companies that are this is for companies that are already established, that have superior market knowledge, superior product knowledge, or that have something different that the other suppliers don't have. And usually to have that edge, I mean, it's not the new guys that have those type of edge. Again, here, the value that you can provide, going the way of, oh, I have a supplier, now I'm going to find buyers, is usually too low. Here, it's here, where the value that you need to provide to get those customers must be here. So no possibility to make the deal. All right, guys, so that was a long intro. That was a long introduction to the buyer let's start method. I mean, way too long. I'm sorry about that, but I really do hope that there's 3 things that you understood. Why there are deals that you cannot do when you just start because you don't provide enough value. All right, I hope that I made a good case for that. And also why you shouldn't start with a supplier. It will lead to nowhere. Okay, so now we are going to jump in the first step of the buyer let's start method, which is the biggest one and the most hardest one: how to find an anchor buyer. All right, I've just noticed that in my worksheet I haven't followed my worksheet at all, so I will rewrite it to make it better. And if sometime, you know, I just mumble blah 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 and I'm not clear with what I'm trying to say, as you can see, English is not my first language, please go below this video, download the worksheet, so then you can just read and maybe understand better what I'm trying to explain. And yes, this worksheet, you need to give me your email, so then I will send you the worksheet, and then I will try to sell you stuff on the long term. That's my goal. Obviously, this is my goal with this video. So and if you don't want me to email you stuff, just unsubscribe. That's it. All right. Okay, so find an anchor buyer. Again, you need to find this buyer. I would say even all the Saka students that succeed, the guy from the Shipping and Commodity Academy that succeed in their first deal, they started with a buyer. None of them started with a supplier. Yeah, actually none of them. So yeah, I mean, if you don't trust me, then just leave this video now. I don't know what to say. How to find an anchor buyer. But first of all, what is an anchor buyer? So basically, an anchor buyer is a buyer willing to give you a shot at supplying a product he needs. So 3 important things. Buyer willing, so the guy is willing to do it, all right? So emotionally, he should be bought in your cause to help you do your first deal. So there's this part. Then he needs to give you a shot, all right? You are not begging to get something. You are going to ask for the same terms that he has from his other suppliers, right? But he needs to be willing to give you a shot. And then the last one is, the most important one is a product he needs, all right? This is very important. You need to be a blank slate. You shouldn't have any preconceived idea about the product that you want to trade. Nothing. If you find a willing buyer and he needs toothpick, or he needs, I don't know, paper, he needs whatever, anything that he needs, you are going to start with that, all right? I have so many students, or even people that just reach out to me. Now I just ignore them, but then they're like, yeah, I have a supplier, or you know what, I want to trade lithium because it's going to be the next big things, or I want to trade copper because electricity is important, blah, blah, blah. No, dude, no. You start with what your anchor buyer wants. If the guy wants you to supply plastic whatever, you will start with plastic whatever, all right? So this is the first idea. You need to be completely agnostic, yeah, when you want to start to do your first trade. You are going to do whatever the guy wants you to do, the guy or the girl. So where to find your anchor buyer? There's only one place where you can find your anchor buyers, and this is in your network. So now I'm pretty sure you are in front of your computer and you're like, no, but Damien, I don't have a network, blah, blah, blah. I have no rich uncle that have factories. I have nobody in my network, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, everyone says that. Yes, of course. But this is where you will find your anchor buyer, in your network. You need to take in your network and you need to extend your network. There's 2 things that you need to do in order to get this anchor buyer. Again, here, a lot of you will say, I need to extend my network, Damien, but I don't feel comfortable, I cannot speak with people, blah, blah, blah. If you are that type of guy that think that you can be behind your laptop and try to close deals by just speaking with dude on WhatsApp, like behind your laptop, if you're that type of guy, close this video right now. And obviously, 90% of the watchers of this my YouTube channel are male, so if you are that type of gal, then also close the video and do something else with your life, because you will need to go out there in the real world, all right? It's how the game works. Humans need trust. They need to see other people. So you cannot build that amount of trust, especially when talking about a huge amount of money with physical product. This trust won't be built behind your laptop. I'm sorry. Maybe in the future we have like VR thing, AR things, I don't know. But right now, it won't work like that. So if you cannot speak to another human for whatever reason, then this line of business is not for you. So you need to have some type of commitment with yourself. Okay, so if I want to do this, I will need to go out, I will need to speak with people that I don't know, I will need to extend my network, I will need to do uncomfortable things for me. And if you're one of those kids that are afraid to speak to people on the phone, man, you need to overcome that first of all, because for your life, you need to overcome that. But maybe this is not the right line of business for you. The first thing that you need to do is you need to tap into your network. All right. And here, a lot of views, because I've been teaching that stuff to my students for a while now. And a lot of my students didn't do that because they are too afraid of appearing ridiculous or whatever. But you need to tap into your network. So first thing that you need to do, you need to contact everybody that you know. Everybody that you know. And actually it's quite easy now. So you go to your phone, WhatsApp, emails, and you send a message to everybody that you know. And obviously that doesn't help you. So if you basically have 100 contacts, you will send this message to your 100 contacts. Hey, blah, 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 personalized first line, okay? I'm starting a new international import company. I'm looking to speak with anyone working in a factory. Will you know someone in that field? Don't worry, I just need 10 minutes of that time, nothing more. You send something like this to 100 people that you know and that knows you. If at least 100 people know at least 50 people, just with that, you can reach 5,000 people. The problem again, I said to do that to a lot of people and they don't do it. So again, man, this is the easiest way. This is the people that knows you, that can introduce you to someone else. This is the easiest way to make it happen. So the problem is you. If you don't do it, the problem is you. So think about why you won't do it and you will probably find good reason not to do it. But again, the fastest way to close your first deal is to use your existing network, and this is how you tap into your existing network. So let me finish this part with a little story. I explained this to a kid. Like, the guy is 17 years old, he's in Pakistan, right? I said, do that. All the people that you know, send this message, all right? He did it. In less than 2 weeks, he came up with a deal, a real deal. In less than 2 weeks. Young kid, the guy is 17 years old, in Pakistan, in Karachi. In 2 weeks, he came up with a deal because he did that. But obviously, you are probably older than him, and you will probably have 2,000 excuses not to do it. Again, the problem is human. Sorry to do that. All right, I guess now we lost everyone. All the audience, everyone cut the video. Anyway, so how to grow your network. So now we are going to see the outbound method, how to grow your network. All right, so this is basically the best place for you to grow your network in your region. Because again, your buyer is going to be someone that you can meet. So your buyer is going to be someone where you can drive there, you know. So this is going to be someone in your country, in your homeland. In your country, in your homeland, go to all those associations or places. First of all, there's Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber of Commerce, usually they throw events or stuff like that to gather people around a specific topic. Chamber of Commerce, usually they're quite exposed to international stuff, so go there. Trade association, so trade association is usually a specific industry. Is going to have like one association. For instance, all the guys that do, I don't know, oilseed in Germany, they have one association. All the guys that do dairy in the Netherlands, they have an association. And in most of the countries, there are associations for specific industries. So reach out to them and just say what's up and when are the next event, how you can help, blah, blah, blah. The trade association is very, very powerful because you will be able to meet business owner or actually decision maker in a quite informal event. So that's one of the best. There's another thing which is business club. So this is more like older guys that want to invest in younger guys. But yeah, it exists in some countries that makes a lot of sense to also try to go there. Charity, so this one is a little bit dark, okay, but there is a bunch of charity that are pushed by very powerful or very successful people that have a lot of money and that push those charity. And when those charities organize an event, usually those people are there. So I mean, if you select well the charity that you want to help and you do good work for the charity, this is an access to very high level people. Like multimillionaire, billionaires, sometimes, you know, the best way to reach out to them is through the charity if you do good work. Maybe it's dark, I don't know, but that's a way to reach out to people on the upper echelon. And conferences. So conferences about one topic is also a good way to network, extend your network. So
if you don't have a lot of money, right? Okay, in life, there's two things. You have no money, but you should have time, all right? In the case you are in student, basically study is a freaking joke. So you have a lot of time, but you have no money. Or you have money and you don't have time. So then you pay other people to do stuff that you want. If you have no money and no time, then man, I'm sorry, you need to do something about your life. Anyway, so usually to go to those trade association, conferences, and so on, it costs money, all right? But if you don't want to pay for that, the best way to go about it and be in those associations is just to volunteer. Volunteer. It's basically doing free work. So what I would do, and I've told that to a lot of young people, and they did that, and I mean, it opened doors for them, is just to reach out to the people organizing those events and say, look, man, I really want to network with those people, but you know, I am just a student or whatever, but I'm really happy to help you with installing the chairs at the beginning of the event, or installing the sound or whatever, just to do voluntary work for the event. Let me know how I can be of help, and usually it works well, especially for conferences, which are sometimes very expensive, but you basically are offering free work. That's one way to get in those rooms, is to volunteer and do free work for the people that throw those events. Very powerful thing, because also you will be able to get the ins, and usually the people that are organizing those events, they are a node of a network. So it's really good to be close to a network node. All right, now that slide was supposed to be the one that if you don't have money, do voluntary work to get it going. Okay, I've already done that, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah. Trade shows. Trade shows is a very bad idea to go there to meet anchor buyer, because people that go to trade shows, I mean people that basically pay a booth to be on a trade show, they are looking for business. All right, they are looking for buyers 99% of the time. They're not looking for suppliers. Okay, so if you go to a trade shows, first of all, you will have to pay somewhat money, and then again you need to find a buyer, not a supplier. So they are not in the same mindset. They paid money, people, to be there, to be at the trade show, to find buyers. So if you can say, look, I can supply you this, blah blah blah, it won't work. They are not in the right framework or right frame of mind. All right, so it's going to be very difficult to find anchor buyers like this. It's not impossible, but I'm just saying it's maybe not my first bet. If you have to choose between all those associations and so on, trade shows will be the last one that I would go. So now let's speak about how to grow your network, the inbound method. So inbound means people coming to you. So, another way to see it is how to increase your luck surface. The biggest luck surface you have, the more chance you have to attract luck. All right, so same idea here. You want to be a network node. Basically, you want to be at the node of a network, so then all the people of that network will go through you. So this is the best place to be. So how can you do that? Hopefully, so the one way to do it is to organize events. Little story, when I started in the commodity trading industry, I created an association with a couple of friends that was called the 80s Ship and Como, right? 80s Ship and Como, and that was an association for people working in the shipping and commodity industry, born in the 80s. Right, so we did. I think for 2-3 years we threw a few events. We had speakers. I mean, that was the first 2 events were really good actually. I mean, we had like that was a good way, you know, to be at the center of a very specific group of people. So if you can organize event that will put you in the center of a node and then attract opportunity to you, and today it's so easy to do that. Back in my day, and there was no LinkedIn, nothing. It was very difficult. Today, again, it's very easy. So basically, you just find a place. You can find a bar, a restaurant, whatever. You pick a date where there's no people in that bar. So basically, when you go to the organizer, say, look, I'm trying to organize something. There's going to be like 15 people. Can I have this table? They will say yes. You can attract people by saying that you are going to pay the first drink free. So you can go see the bar and say, look, I'm going to have at least, I will pay in advance 15 drink. It's a little bit of money, but at least it's a good way to attract people. Usually people love to drink for free. And then you go on LinkedIn, you check for the people in a specific industry in your city, and then you send 100 messages. And out of the 100 messages, I can tell you that at least 10% of the people will come, especially if there's something free for them to network. So very easy to organize an event. Choose a specific industry, organize that event, you will be the node of it. But again, I know this requires work. This requires to put your name out there. This requires you to take risk of what? Risk that you could look ridiculous, because if you throw an event and no people come. I can tell you, I was so afraid when I threw my first event that no people would come. I was so afraid to be ridiculed. But man, you need to take some risk, and those type of risks are so little, honestly. Because at the end of the day, nobody will remember if nobody came to you first time. And for you, it's going to be a good story to tell to your children. Anyway, so now the most powerful way. So the most powerful way to be a node is to create a B2B niche media. Right now, in today's world, you can create a B2B niche media quite easily. And by niche media, you can start with a niche social media. This is me talking about physical commodity trading on my YouTube channel. That's I'm doing it, you know. So I'm speaking about one niche industry, the niche physical commodity trading industry, to a broad audience, and it attracts a lot of deals, a lot of interesting people, and so on to me. But for you, maybe it's a bit too wide. So what you should try to do is you should start with maybe an Instagram page, a LinkedIn page, or whatever, and you should speak about one specific niche. Again, a very good example of that is the column. So Darius is a guy that I met like a couple of years ago, and he basically write a newsletter about the chemical industry. Once a week, I think it's once a week, he write about the news in the chemical industry. Right now, Darius have more than 10,000 people interested in the chemical industry, and is at the node of a very, very powerful network. All the people that buy chemicals, that process chemicals, and so on, they are most probably reading his newsletter. So this is one of the best way, I think, to start in any B2B niche. Is like you start a newsletter once a week. You just take all the news about this niche, put it in a newsletter, and then you send it. How you get subscriber for your newsletter? Again, very easy. Go on LinkedIn. All the people that are within this industry, you just send them a link. Look, I'm starting this newsletter about this industry. It's once a week. You will get the news. That's it. You do that for 1 year, for 2 years, then on back of that, you will be able to start a very good business. But anyway, it requires time, it requires commitment. So most of you will probably don't do it. And you will come back at me and say, oh, maybe I have a supplier, or maybe I can broke this deal. Anyway, so that's basically 2 ideas how to be a node in a center of a network and to get people at you. This is the most powerful thing that you can do for your career, and I think for your life. Starting those type of B2B niche media right now is the right time, because there's a lot of niche where there's no media. I could speak about it for hours and hours and hours, because this is exactly what I'm doing with my YouTube channel. And again, I really think that this is the most powerful thing that can change your life, especially if you have no money. Because right now, this is only times. This is only times. All right. So now let's say that you start to network, you spoke with a bunch of guys at factories, processing unit, whatever, that needs raw material. How do you know if that guy could be your, or that gal, sorry, but how do you know if they could be your anchor buyers? So the idea is that your anchor buyer must be willing to educate you and cheer for you. So let's start with the first part, educate you. So your anchor buyer must be willing to give you enough information about the product that he needs that will allow you to go to find supplier without looking too stupid. So basically here are the information that at least you need to get from your anchor buyer. Specification of the product. So specification, basically it's a sheet for the people that don't know, that will give all the, chemical composition of the product, of let's say, for instance, if it's a metal, they will say, okay, there's Y amount of iron in this, and if it's a food product like milk, okay, the milk will say, oh, there is 34% of protein, there is 3% of moisture, whatever. So this is what we call specification. Is basically a sheet that describes the composition of the product. Then HS code. So this is the harmonized code for the custom. Very important for you to know. Again, I have a YouTube video about HS code, actually. You should watch if you don't know. What are the payment terms that your buyers have with other suppliers? Again, you are going to ask him to give you a shot with the same price and same payment term as the other suppliers. So he must not bullshit you. Your anchor buyer must be like emotionally involved in your success, so he must not bullshit you. Current supplier, who are your current supplier? Who are you buying from? Current origin, where the product is coming from? What does he know about this product, and so on. And also all the other information that you need to know about the trade flow. Sometimes the buyer buy a lot of one raw material commodity and he doesn't know much about the trade flows because he doesn't care. His job is to produce whatever things. So he doesn't want to understand all the intricacies of the raw material that he needs. But he must be willing to give you time to explain to you what he needs. And this is the minimum information that you need to know. Otherwise, if he doesn't give you those 6 points, then it's not going to be your anchor buyer. All right, last point. So each client doesn't like something about their supplier. It's always like this. It's always like this, a human thing. So some clients will say, oh, this supplier give me good price, but the communication is not good. I never know exactly when the product is going to arrive. It doesn't give me like a specific hours in the day. It's always within a couple of hours, and I hate that. So some clients are like that. They want to know exactly what is going on. Other clients, they don't care. They say, look, man, when is the truck going to arrive in my warehouse? This week. Okay, cool. And the guy doesn't care about that. And yes, there's always a pain point with suppliers, and you need to ask that. So you need to ask directly your anchor buyer. So okay, what do you think it's annoying with your current supplier? What don't you like? What do they do that you don't like? And you ask this question because you say, look, man, I want to be different. I want to be better. So I want to know what you don't like. So then I can just don't do it. And then listen carefully about what he says. Every buyers are different. Every buyers will look at things differently. So be extremely mindful about that. And then when you execute the trade, make sure that don't do the same stuff. But yeah. And usually also this is a good, if you are like a more seasoned trader, this is usually when you can get a new client, because usually clients, they don't really switch suppliers. But there's always some moment where the clients will be somewhat upset with the supplier, and this is at that moment that you need to be there to close the deal. Check. Like the moment of doubt that the guy has, like for 1 week, because I don't know, he got angry with whatever claim stuff. Then at that moment you can just jump on him and make you first sales. All right. Your anchor buyer must also cheer for you. So that means that he needs to be emotionally involved in your success. All right. And not by asking for handout. What you are asking again is only a shot. You're just asking the same terms of other suppliers. All right, just say, man, I want, give me the same terms. I'm not asking for a handout. I just need a shot. All right, and you must be good enough to create some type of relationship of a good vibe, just for the guy that wants for you to win, or the gal. And this is what like extremely good salesmen, traders, entrepreneurs do. They are able to change the mind of other people for other people to root for them. That doesn't mean that they will give you more money or whatever. No, just they need to be happy that this guy is winning. And if they can make you happy just by giving you a shot, then they will be happy also. I don't know if I'm clear, but what I'm trying to say is like when you have a commercial relationship with someone, you sell for a lot of value to someone, you need to somewhat like each other. Or maybe you hate the guy, but he needs to like you. If you are not able to make people like you, then you won't be good at that job. And now there's like two types of people that are watching that. Some people say, yeah, I know how to make people like me. It's all right, man. I know how to do it. And other people are like, what? I mean, you can make other people like you? What? And if you are this type of people, maybe this is not the job for you. Or you need to really think about yourself. So, because yeah, it's completely possible to make other people like you. All right, so now that you have an anchor buyers that say, look, Damien, I need aluminium. All right, I need scrap aluminium. This is what I need. It's time for you to go find the product. So the first thing that you need to do is to understand the current trade flow. You need to understand how this product flow around the world. Otherwise, you will just waste a lot of time speaking with people that can't really ship the things to you because you just don't know that what is going on with the trade flow. Here, I will give you a hack. The best way and the fastest way to understand the trade flow. To understand the best way is to use a data aggregator. Definitely. And when I started this job 15 years ago, there were like no data aggregator, or they were like so expensive and useless that it made no sense. But now we have data aggregators. So, all right. So here I'm using Fuji. Fuji is one of the best data aggregator that I know. I'm very close with the founder. So let me show you how you do that. So let's say you want aluminum. So first of all, we work on ADC 12, HS code. All right. Okay, I hope this is true. So basically you get the HS code of the product. Here, bam, bam, bam. All right, this. And let's go. So, and here what you see is the data aggregator is basically taking all the bill of lading information, export, import information from different ports and so on, and they are going to serve you this on a platter. So here, what can I see? Okay, first of all, I can see China is selling a lot of these to US. Yeah. All right. Let's go to page 16. So yeah, okay, India is buying a lot of those to US again. So all right, what can I understand now? There's like, okay, there's a bunch of countries that sell that product to US. So US must be a big buyer of that. Okay, let's see the first information. Then I see there's other countries, blah blah blah, and then I can refine my my search. So here with Fuji, you can just like click suppliers, and then you will get the suppliers of that product. Here you get the name, and so on of all the suppliers. So that's definitely the fastest way to understand what is going on with a trade flow. So You can do the same with suppliers, you can do the same with buyers, then you can have an idea, okay, so this product is flowing from Asia to America, this product is flowing from this to this. So usually in this region of the world, those are the biggest suppliers. So that means that this region of the world is going to be usually it's going to be the cheapest part. So that's basically the hack. In one day of work, you can mine those data and then get a good information about which country is selling, which country is buying, and so on. So so little ad if you want to try Vuji. So the guy from Vuji gave me a coupon code. So the coupon code is Vurston. It's my family name, so you can use it and you will get like a discount basically. But you can go try this. I think the tool, you can use it for 7 days for free. So go try Vuji if you want to do your research. And then if you are more professional and you want to do it like to extend your abilities, then use my coupon code. Anyway, so again, I'm pushing for this tool because it was so difficult to get those information about where the trade flows before those type of tools that now, seriously, don't waste your time, just use a data aggregator. Then the second step, once you got to understand the big pictures about the trade flow, which country are buying, which country are selling this product, then it's time for you to get more granular information. And the best way to do that is to speak with traders. And the idea here is to mine traders for information. So that's what you're going to do. So you're going to go on LinkedIn, on Google, whatever, find traders that know this product well, and then you can just hit them with this thing. Yeah, hey, it's XYZ from XY. I'm just starting my XYZ company, and one of my customers is looking for this product. I really don't know much about the product, and I was looking for information. Can we speak? All right, then you get the guy on the phone, the traders on the phone, and then you can ask them with all the questions. The traders, I mean, you need to understand this guy is a professional. He knows the market. He should know the market very, very well. All the suppliers, all the buyers, and so on. This is his job. So then you can hit him with all the questions. You need to make think the buyers that you are going to buy from him. Basically, but you need to tell the truth. Man, I have one buyer, don't give his name, but yeah, I have one buyer in that country. Can you maybe supply for me? And there is also other thing that I want to understand. Which origin can you supply? Okay, this country, why? Why is everyone buying from that country? Oh, for this reason. And then there's also the question about tariff. So either like tariff, custom taxes or stuff like that from that country, not from that country. Or is there some issue with the quality? What about the prices, differential? How is the price usually done in the industry? Is it flat price or is it differential? Differential would be like, okay, there's a LME or the CME or the future price, like the one that you can see on Bloomberg, blah, blah, blah. And then on top of that, the future price, is there like a percentage or few points above that future price? So how do you usually work in terms of payment? So ask the guy, okay, from your customer, what do you need from me? You need KYC, you need this, you need that. What is the issue with the packaging? How is going to be the packaging? Do you do container? Do you do pallet? Are the product on pallets? Are the product wrapped around the pallet? Ask ask all the questions. Basically, what you need to do with those traders, and you need to get them on the phone, make them think that you could be a buyer, that you want to do a trial, and that you are going to grow, and then ask all the questions. That's pretty much it. So if you can do this hack, so data aggregator to get the big pictures, and then you hit your phone, you speak with a dozen of traders, you will get a very, very good information about what is going on in this market and how you can best find a supplier for your client. And maybe one of the traders will become your supplier, obviously. That's also a possibility. Yes, as I said, with those two things, it's the hack to get a good understanding on a new market. And actually, this is what I do. Honestly, this is what I do. I have new product, new opportunity that arise. I always check on the data aggregator, okay, who are the suppliers, who are the buyers, what are the trade flow, and then I speak with the traders. The only difference is that the traders that I speak with are mostly my friends most of the time. But that's pretty much it. All right, so find a reliable supplier. Here, the keyword is a reliable supplier. Please, 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 don't make this mistake to work with a broker, through a broker. Okay, this is the worst idea ever. Never work with broker, seriously. Never work with broker, especially at the beginning of your career. Never do that. Never do that. Never. So if the guy asks you for LOI, letter of intention, or letter of whatever, it means he's a broker and he's lying to you. So don't work with a broker. Second thing is you need to work with trusted supplier. Legacy supplier, trusted supplier. You cannot work with a financially struggling supplier, right? Because the good supplier is going to understand quite well that you are new. it shouldn't be a problem for him, but he's also going to teach you how you purchase that product. If it's a good company with a big track record and they know what they do, the good supplier is going to tell you, man, pay attention to this, pay attention to that, and so on. And just because of the structure of the company and how they run their operation, they are going to de-risk the transaction for you a lot because they know what they do. You, at that stage, you have no idea what you're doing. Honestly, you have no idea what you're doing. So you need to work with people that know what they do, all right? Very important. So don't work with small suppliers that are financially struggling. Man, if you work with, like, I don't know, a mine, let's say a mine, and the guy say, oh, I need 50% prepayment, and you say, okay, all right, why do you need 50% prepayment? The guy say, yeah, because I need to buy not to buy, but I need to rent the machinery, I need to buy the fuel, I need to have the workers, and then I can mine, and then I can supply you. So all right, if the guy said that, run away. That means that this guy doesn't have the money to mine, and he is counting on your money to do it. Man, it's recipe for disaster. This type of supplier, they are more suited for people like me that know what they do, okay? So really, again, only work with top tier suppliers, real company for your first deal. Otherwise, you will get smacked, man. Seriously. All right, so how to find those suppliers? On Vuji, I just show you how you can just get the name of the big suppliers, then you just contact them on the phone. And then also another good place is to go on a conferences website, and then you will see who are the sponsor of those conferences. And if those sponsors are producers, that means that they have a lot of money to waste, because I mean, nobody makes no sense to be sponsor of a conferences. So that means that they have money. So sponsor of conferences, trade event, and so on. Look which of them are suppliers, are producers, and then hit them up. So those two, if you only look for those two ways to get a real supplier, then you should be fine. Next step. So if we go back to, all right, so now we are here, logistic viability. So the thing with those 3 steps, understand the flow, find a reliable supplier, and logistic viability is like, this is one big step, which is like find a supplier. But you need to understand the flow to ask the right supplier, and then you need to see if the supplier that you found, the logistic is possible. So that's one big step, but there's like 3 steps in between. Oh, it makes no sense what I'm just saying, but anyhow, now we are at the logistic viability step. And if, again, the logistic doesn't work, then you go back to find a reliable supplier within another region, and so on. But if you did well, you work on to understand the trade flow, you should find a supplier which is possible to ship to your country. All right, so here again I'm going to give you a hack. The fastest way to know if it's possible or no, it's to work with a freight forwarder. What is a freight forwarder? A freight forwarder is a company where its job is basically to organize your shipment. The fastest way to know if it's possible to ship and the price of the shipping and so on is to work with a freight forwarder. This is the fastest way. When you work with a freight forwarder, you need to know that if they do a mistake, you are going to pay for the mistake, all right? The freight forwarder organize your shipment from point A to point Z. This is their job. But again, they will not take the responsibility if something goes wrong. So this is why usually when the firm gets quite big, they have their own operation team that will work with the freight forwarder, or that will work directly with the carrier, with the trucking company, with the custom broker, and so on. And basically you have an internal team that will do the freight forwarder job. But as a beginner, you need to use a freight forwarder because they are going to teach you how to do it. So don't go contact directly the carrier, contact directly the custom broker, and so on. It's a lot of work for you. And honestly, you can just delegate this to a freight forwarder that will do it for like a very little margin. So as a beginner, use a freight forwarder. One tip about freight forwarder, when I used to work as an operator, I used to have local freight forwarder for each country. Like we had one freight forwarder in Poland to organize our shipment out of Poland, another one in Belgium to organize the shipment out of Belgium, and so on, because it's just easier to use local company that understand well the rules and regulation than to use a big freight forwarder, an international company that have offices everywhere. Usually those guys, man, they are the worst, man. They are fucking useless. It's tough to work with them. So, and they are not really suited for small players like you. They are more suited for big companies. So, but that's another thing. But I would really encourage you to find freight forwarder in local countries where you need the shipment to be picked or delivered, and then speak directly with them rather than trying to speak with a big international forwarder that will, just not good work. Anyway, here you need to, when you contact a freight forwarder, you need to be clear and to be at least somewhat professional, because they will get a lot of inquiry. Freight forwarder that are well ranked on the internet, they will get a lot of inquiry, and some of them are just like, I mean, if it's too poorly written or they don't understand it, they will not reply to you. So basically, you need to have a concise email when you reach out to them. And again, here basically the idea, you need to give them port of loading, POL, so Gdynia, Poland, port of discharge, Senegal, Dakar, equipment, so basically in case of container, okay, what the cargo is, 1,000 bags of 25 kg of milk powder, and then the HS code, you can already give it, and the shipment time, so when you want the shipment to be made. Obviously, maybe you don't know that, but you need to have like a price. So, and then also said that this is a trial, so we should be able to increase the volume 10x for the next shipment. Again, that's true, this is a trial, and this is your wish that you want to increase the volume. But you know, if it's only one container for them, maybe the guy goes, I don't want to answer to that guy. It's going to be a waste of time for me. I'm not going to make a lot of money on one container. So you need to show them that you want to grow, and so then to keep them hoping that you will come back with bigger volume. So yeah, that's basically the type of email that you send to the freight forwarder to get an answer. All right, other point, when you check the logistic viability, you need to check two other things. The first one is the taxes. All right, is there taxes on that product? If you import the product, if you export the product, is there some taxes that you need to pay? Very important for you to know. So you can ask a custom broker. Custom brokers are the guy in charge of doing your taxes when you get the product in and so on. They will file the paper to be okay with the border and so on. So you need to find a custom broker. Sometimes freight forwarder have in-house custom broker, or they know the custom broker directly and so on. So sometimes freight forwarder can do that job for you. You can ask them directly. All right. The other point that you need to check is the rules and regulations. So if you do niche product like chemicals, waste, or there's a lot of product that have some type of rules and regulation around them to ship them in and out of a country. And usually they are good, very good and interesting niche product to trade, because there is like a layer of complexity to move them around. So you need to love those type of complexity, and you need to check the rules and regulation of the product to make sure that you can ship it, export it, import it, and that you don't need a license. Or if you need a license, you need to know how to apply for that license. You need to make sure that it's allowed to export and import what you want to do. That's pretty much it. So usually there is a website on all the governments. You can find website where you can read the law. Or you can ask your custom broker or freight forwarder. If it's very niche, maybe they don't know, and they will tell, you need to look at this. I don't know, but they will maybe give you a hint where you need to look for, or where you need to look for it. So custom broker, again, the other thing which is quite important is that they will bill you the VAT. So VAT is value added tax. I could maybe make a 10-hour very boring video about VAT. In the European Union, there's like VAT triangulation. There's all countries have their own way to deal with VAT. But the things that you need to know is this. Usually the rule is this. When you import a product, you need to pay the VAT on that product. Because when you export a product, the country is going to give you back the VAT that you paid. So importing, pay a VAT. Exporting, you need to get the VAT back from your government and forward. Then how you do it, the timing to do it, and so on, it really depends country by country. So again, you need to speak with someone that knows that stuff locally. But yeah, be clear about the VAT, man, because that can bite you in the ass. Yeah, I'm not going to speak too much about that, because this is something that you need to do your own research with for the country that you want to deal with. But do this one. Product validation. So well done. You are already to the product validation. That means that you have found an anchor buyers, that you are sure that you can ship to that buyers, and you found a reliable supplier. Well done. So now this is a part that you need to make sure that the product that your supplier has is the right product that your buyer wants. Sure, it's better to be sure of that. So this step is where hopes die, because you probably worked a lot to arrive at that step, and now there's a good chance that it doesn't work. First of all, there's something that you need to know. There are some specification problems. So I talked to you about the specification sheet. This is where you have all the chemical composition or whatever composition of the product. Even though, let's say, you find the right product that fit the specification of your buyers, everything on the sheet is the same, there could still be some issue. Let me explain. So the specification sheet doesn't always fully reflect the full scope of the product. So for instance, I had this, I hope it will illustrate quite well what I want to say. Back in my career, when I was a dairy trader, I used to trade milk powder. We had things like, we bought milk out of India. We exported milk out of India. It's extremely rare that you can do that. Maybe, I don't know, I haven't followed the market, but back then it was very, very difficult to export out of India because the price in India was always very high for a lot of reasons. But anyway, so it wouldn't make sense to just export out of India. But sometimes, the market do crazy stuff, and then there was an opportunity. So we bought product out of India, ship it to our client. Then our client said, man, what is the shit that you sold to us? The powder is not the same. It smells so bad. I was like, what is going on? And then, but before that, we checked the specification. So the milk out of India is the same milk out of Europe when you look at the chemical composition, right? 34% protein, 3% of moisture. Then, I don't remember, skimmed milk powder is going to be 2% of fat, and so on, right? It's milk, it's the same. But the texture and the taste is not the same. So even though on the contract that we were in the line with our contract, no problem, but the product was not good. Because then how stupid we were. Then, because the product from India is from buffalo milk. And in Europe, we have another type of cow. It's not the same. So the milk is a bit different. But you couldn't see that only by looking at the specification. So that's why I'm saying, even though the product that your supplier has is the same as what your buyer wants on the paper, maybe not. This is why you need to go to the sample. Most of the time the buyer will want to see a sample. Obviously, they don't want to get fucked with a product that they can't use, so they will want to see a sample. The problem with a sample is it's expensive to ship. DHL 10 kg bag, 25 kg bag, or DHL 1 kg, it's expensive. Second thing is it's not 100% foolproof. So sometimes you can send a sample, but the guy will say that the sample doesn't work, even though it should. So for instance, let's say that the guy takes a sample of cocoa powder, right? You sell cocoa powder. The guy takes the sample, he's doing his recipe, and he says, no, not good. And it's like, okay, why this cocoa powder is not good? And sometimes the guy cannot give you a feedback of why it's not good. So again, it's not 100% foolproof. So it's not because you send a sample that the product is 100% of the time not the right product, or that it's 100% of the time the right product. So both ways could work. So it's also slow. It takes a long time to send a sample, and then you need to constantly follow up with your buyer. Did you test the sample? Did you test the sample? Blah, blah, blah. If he needs to put his sample into his machine, maybe he cannot do that. You need to wait a month for him to do it. So you need to do a constant follow-up. Right now, as we speak, we have different deals with sample everywhere. We are waiting for feedback, constantly to push. Hey, did you get the sample? And the guy's like, yeah, I forgot the samples on my desk, or oh yeah, my kid took. There's always some issue that happen to those samples. And if you are a real trader, you know that, man. There's always some issue with the sample, so it's very slow, it's expensive, and usually the sample also destroys the momentum. So you are feeling well, and so on, looking for that stuff, all right. Then you found a guy, you found it, okay, it's possible. You have the price to transport, okay, should be okay. Let's do the sampling, blah blah blah. You wait months to get an answer. So sample is a pain in the ass, but you need to go through that stage. All right, so this point I will be brief, but I just need to say that if you follow the buyer let's start method and you found an anchor buyer, you shouldn't discover hidden reason not to buy from you at that moment. But usually when you don't follow the method and then you send samples, blah, 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 this is at that moment that the guy cannot keep lying to you. And if you push them very, very hard, maybe he will tell you why he will not buy from you. Usually there's some kind of kickbacks or some illegal stuff that they do, and that the guy didn't want it to tell to you until to that point where he's put in a corner, and when he needs to tell you, right, yeah, you send me the right product, but man, the reality is this. So, and this is usually at that moment that you spend money, you push to get your sample tested and so on, that you have leverage to make him speak. Anyhow, I don't know if I will let that in the video, but anyway, another thing that could happen, if you do a bulk shipment, so something which is not in a container, but in a bulk vessel, sometimes the buyer is a massive pain in the ass and he will ask for sample containers. And if that is the case, man, you need to do it. And it's quite difficult because usually the suppliers, they do not agree to work on one container. Even though say, it's a trial, and so the case in loop, man. You do a 50,000 metric ton vessel, but I will not stuff a container for your beautiful eyes. So this is where a lot of also deals die. But honestly, if this is your first deal, don't try to do something with bulk vessel, man. Just do one container. But yeah, it also happened. Alrighty, so now we are at the part, get finance. Found a buyer, you found a supplier, tested the product, you know that the product is good, you know that there's a deal. Now you need to find the money. How do you find the money? So first, I need to explain. So there's 1,000 ways to get money when you have a real company and you've got things going. But when you start with your first deal, there is not 1,000 ways to do it. There is like 3 main ways. And I would say 3.5, but let me explain. So the 3 main ways are this: back-to-back, FFF, or experience motor. And the last way is company riding, but I don't like this one, but maybe sometimes you get to do what you get to do. All right, so back-to-back, this is maybe the best shot for you to start with almost no money, is you use your buyer's money to pay for on the supplier side. Again, very straightforward. Let's say like 40-60, 40% prepayment after the signature of the contract, 60% again the shipping document. Quite common things. Again, on the paper it looks great. In reality, it's quite difficult to make it happen. But man, that could be a way to do it. I mean, if you've been following my podcast, the Merchant's Diary podcast, Nick, this is how Nick started, my co-host. This is how he started his company, by doing this like this. So it's possible, but man, it's not easy. So why it probably won't work? So basically, if we go back to the beginning of this lesson, I explained that as a trader, you need to take risk off your counterparties and you need to bring some type of value to just create enough value to make a deal. And the thing is, what you do when you do 40-60 or when you do prepayment and back-to-back, you don't really provide value, honestly, to your buyers. You're just using his money to to buy. And the thing is, you don't have money. So if something goes wrong, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You are going to ask your buyers to pay for the stuff that went wrong. So you are not de-risking and you are not really providing value. Because again, the value of just connecting two people together, two companies together, is not enough as to the world. So you can try. I mean, you should try to do a back-to-back deal like this, but know that it's going to be difficult, man. Because the value that we provide is very, very, very small. The other method, FFF, family, friends, and full. So here, that's maybe your best shot to get your first deal financed. Again, if you are talking 1 container or something, the amount of money should not be that crazy that you cannot have in your network people that know you, that can lend you this money. Basically, you go to them and say, look, man, I have everything. I have a buyer, I have a seller, I've validated the product, and now I just need the money to make it happen. I have everything signed, all the contract, but I just need the money to make it happen. I haven't. So this is when you get to prostitute yourself to get the money, man. So, but again, I know that a lot of people in my audience are coming from like a very poor country. So maybe for you it's not possible, man. I can understand that. But I would say that, again, for a lot of people, this is how they started. Their family, friends, and some foolish people lended the money. The third way is the experience motor method. So this method is like, it's next level shit, man. It's next level strategy. So the idea is this. So this is a quote that I really like. It's from Naval, someone that I really look up to. Someone said that raising venture capital is the art of younger men seducing older men. So obviously this is not about sexual thing. It's just you need to be able to seduce people with money so they can lend it to you. And in that case, it's VC, venture capital, is for startup. But in our case, this is the same idea. You need to be able to seduce someone with more experience than you, and seducing in a way that you need to be emotionally involved and you want to give you a shot. And the best way is this way. You go on LinkedIn, all right? You find all the people that know this industry. Okay, let's say let's keep the aluminum. You find all the guys that are aluminum traders. But what you will try to find, I think you can use LinkedIn Sales Navigator to it, is you are going to find people that were in the aluminum game, but that moved to another position. So the guy was former aluminum trader, but now he's executive in another place. So he's doing something different, all right? So those are the best people. And older people that made a lot of money. This is the type of guy that you want to find. And now, thanks to internet, you can find those guys. So basically what you will do is this. You will send him a message on LinkedIn and say, dear, I'm about to conclude my first deal of XYZ. Obviously, product has already been validated by the buyer. So on LinkedIn profile that you experience with this product, can we jump on a 10-minute call? I really would like you to make sure that I'm not making a massive mistake. I'm even okay to pay for your time. All right, so this is the message that you send. Usually, this is a very bad cold outreach message, all right, for a few reasons I'm going to explain. But you want to self-select a very specific type of people. So first of all, if the guy asks you for money, all right, then don't even reply to him. This is not the type of guy that you need. So what you are showing here, like you said, the guy, okay, now let's put yourself in the shoes of this older, more experienced guy. The guy was a former trader, now he's doing some being a trader is very tiring. So now he's doing other stuff. Hopefully he's been successful, he made money, and he sees this message. And you know what? You know what he's going to think? Like, fuck, man, there's some guy that are doing it in the arena. And the guy spent 10 years speaking about this product. He knows everything about this product. Obviously, he would love to jump on a call to speak about that. He would love to do it, man. Because for 10 years, he traded this product, and the only people that he could speak with was his wife, and his wife didn't really care about aluminium trader. So you cannot really remove the part that you love doing deals from a trader. So if he sees that, man, I can tell you, if he's the right guy, he will answer, because he still have this fire inside of him, even though he's doing something different about speaking about deals. You jump on a call, then you explain what you are doing. And first of all, the guy will be impressed. He's going to be impressed. And if you are doing everything that I just told you, the full thing, he's going to be impressed. And then you ask all the questions, okay, should I do this, should I do that, blah, 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 blah. He will answer, he should answer. And then the last question is like, look, man, there's another problem that I don't know how to do it. I had someone that said, a friend of a friend or whatever, a friend of my father or my mother, that said that he would back me up. And now he's pulling her out because he had some issue, whatever. And I don't know where to find the money. What do you think I should do? And here, all right, the idea is like the older guy that has money for one container said, look, man, I'm going to finance you. This is what you want. And honestly, man, it's possible. Now you can think like, Daniel, are you smoking weed? Are you crazy? No guys, random guys on LinkedIn will ever say that. And like, no, man, this is a part that you don't know. This guy that has been doing aluminum trade for 10 years, he completely understands exactly what you are doing. He knows all the risk. And I can tell you that if you are good enough, man, obviously you need to share with him the profit, or even he can take all the profit. It's your first, but man, that's that department, because he's maybe one of the only guy in this world to really understand what you're doing. I'm telling you, man, I've seen stuff like that happening, exactly like that. And maybe it's not going to happen the first call. All right, then you get his WhatsApp, you say, oh, all right, man, can I just update you about the deal and then see what I'm doing? And then every week or every 3 days, you update him with what you are doing and so on. Try to get him to like you, blah, blah, blah. And maybe down the line, he will finance you. Man, this is how psychology works, man. This is how human works. If you think that I'm completely out of mind, that this is a possibility, again, you are not fit for that job. All right, so this is another thing, like when you ask for the call with the guy, do the first one on Zoom video. You need to see him, man. Because at the end of the day, you need to emotionally sell something. So it's better with a video call. It's even better if you can meet him for coffee, but maybe not. But yeah. All right, company writing. So this one is the one that I like the least. For a simple reason is that what you are going to do here, you are going to contact other trading firm. Maybe contact the trading firm that you discussed with on the step when you started to understand the trade flow, and say, look, I have this deal, I have done this and that, I have a buyer, I have a supplier, I don't have the finance. Can you finance me? And obviously the company, some will say yes, especially the small one, because they need to increase their revenue for their bank for a lot of reasons. The problem is that they are going to do the deal under their name. So that means that you are going to help them. They are going to use their balance sheet. They are going to use their name. So they will be the buyer, they will be the seller, and then you will get a cut. At least you've closed your first deal, I would say. But down the line, it doesn't really help you starting your company. But sometimes, man, you've got to do what you've got to do. I know a lot of people that did that, especially like older traders that were traders, then they changed job, but they kept like a portfolio of clients, and they have another company that just carry their deal and they make money out of it. So it's not bad. It's just that if your goal is to build your own company down the line, you need to have deals that go through your company to create a balance sheet, create a track record, and so on. But sometimes you have no choice. So you've got to do what you've got to do. This is what I'm saying. Basically, you are going to give a shipment, a trade to a bigger company. This is not going to your company. So, but if there is no other way to do it, then do it like this, man. All right. So now we are going to the end. So you've done everything that was the most difficult, and you are at this place, the execution part. Again, here I'm going to be quite honest, guys. I'm not going to speak about the execution of a trade. Use a freight forwarder, and hopefully he's not going to make mistake and you are not going to lose money. But yeah, man, if you want more information about the execution of a trade, go on the Shipping and Commodity Academy. It's my company. We've been teaching this to more than 300 students now. It's been more than 5 years. We have students that work for the biggest company in the world. If you're really serious about that, it's your first deal, man, put a little bit of money to take the courses to just learn how to execute correctly a trade. So this is a big part of this course. So go on the shippingcommodityacademy.com and download the brochure and then check. But yeah, man. And if you don't want to do it, obviously yes with your freight forwarder, and be very close with him to make sure that he doesn't screw up with your shipment, because if you don't have money to pay for a screw up, it's going to be bad for you. So anyway, up to you. Okay, all right, scaling. So now you've done everything. You closed your first deal, shipped the container, it arrived, the guy's happy, he paid you. You did, man. You did it. The 0.1% of the people that fucking did it. So well done. Well done. Now the question is, do you want to scale? I mean, do you want to use that product to sell to other people? Or do you want to sell more to the same guys? How are you going to grow your operation? So that part, man, I cannot really, I mean, it's a long video already, so, and this is so nuanced about what you're going to do. If you are to that point, man, you did one deal successfully, and now you don't know what is the best way forward for you, just download the brochure on the Shipping and Commodity Academy and send me an email. You will get my email, and then I will help you, no problem. But scaling, yes, let's say there is a lot of parameters to take into account to know if you want to scale this trade flow or if this trade flow is unscalable. But the problem is, like, again, to arrive to that point of you can ask yourself this question, you need to do the first shipment. Otherwise, just masturbation. But once you've done it, now you have a credibility, now you have a track record, and everything done to that point is going to be easier. All right, guys. Ciao.